The stakes have never been higher, the pressure is reaching a breaking point, and the future of the star is hanging in the balance of a single draft card. Are we looking at the birth of a new defensive dynasty or a high-priced gamble that could haunt this franchise for a decade? Imagine the roar of the crowd as a shutdown corner and a relentless edge rusher join the ranks, but there is a catch that could change everything. One of these stars hasn't touched a football field in over a year. We are breaking down a potential defensive revolution today that has the entire league talking, from blockbuster trades for all-pros to the injury risks that could make or break our championship window. Before we dive into this absolute roller coaster of a mock draft, do me a massive favor, hit that like button right now, share this video with every die-hard fan you know, and subscribe to the channel so you never miss a single second of our deep dive off-season coverage. The draft world is absolutely spinning right now because the latest projections from the industry's most respected scouts have just dropped, and for the Dallas faithful, it is a total defensive overhaul. We are talking about two massive first-round picks that could redefine what this team looks like on Sundays. But before we get to the names, we have to look at the board. The draft is a game of dominoes, and the top 12 picks are going to dictate everything. We saw Fernando Mendoza go number 1 overall to the Raiders, which was a total, moment for anyone following the quarterback carousel. Then the impact picks started flying off the board, David Bailey to the Jets, Reuben Bain to Tennessee, and suddenly, the offensive tackles and receivers we were hoping would get snatched up early started to slide. When you see guys like Spencer Fano and My Lemon going in the top 10, it's great news for us because it pushes elite defensive talent right into our laps. But then, the nightmare scenario started to unfold. Arl Reese was gone at 7. Jeremiah Love went at 9. We were all sitting there praying that maybe, just maybe, one of the elite safeties like Caleb Downs or a corner like Mon would fall. But nope, both were snatched up by the Bengals and Miami. That brings us to the most debated pick of the entire offseason. With the 12th overall selection, the mock has Dallas taking Jermod McCoy, the lockdown cornerback out of Tennessee. Now, let's be totally honest with each other, when Jermod McCoy is on the field, he is an absolute human highlight reel. If you haven't gone back and watched the tape of his 2024 season, specifically that matchup against Alabama, you need to do it immediately. He was on fire. He wasn't just covering receivers, he was erasing them from the stat sheet. He has that rare, elite athleticism that makes him look like he's gliding while everyone else is sprinting. But here is the massive, glowing red flag that has scouts and fans alike losing sleep: McCoy did not play a single snap of football in 2025. Not one. He is coming off a torn ACL that sidelined him for an entire calendar year. Think about the gravity of that for a second. We are talking about using a premium, top 12 pick on a player whose last competitive snap was over a year ago. The medical staff is going to be under more pressure than the head coach. This makes the upcoming combine the most important event of McCoy's life. We need to see him move. We need to see those hips flip, we need to see that explosive closing speed, and we need to see if he still has that fluid, effortless change of direction. If he shows up in Indy and looks even a little bit stiff, or if there's a hint of hesitation in his gait, his draft stock is going to plummet. He could slide from a top 12 lock all the way to the end of the first round. Some fans are already asking, is the risk worth the reward? If he's the 2024 version of himself, he's a perennial Pro Bowler. If the injury took away even 5% of his twitch, we might be looking at a massive bust. Could we be passing on a safer bet like Sonny Styles, the versatile off-ball linebacker who actually slid a bit in this projection? Styles is a plug-and-play starter who brings immediate physicality to the middle of the defense. Question of the day: this is the ultimate fan debate. If you are in the war room and both are on the board, who are you taking, the elite but recovering cornerback Jermod McCoy or the rock-solid linebacker Sonny Styles? Drop your answer in the comments right now and tell me why. As the draft moved along, things got even weirder. We saw a massive run on safeties, with 3 of them going in the top 18. That left a really interesting pool of talent for our second first-round pick at number 20. The board was staring at us with names like Lexi J and various top-tier tackles, but the pick here is Akheem Mesidor, the edge rusher out of Miami. If you followed the Hurricanes during their dynamic run through the college football playoff this year, you know exactly who this man is. Mesidor was the engine of that defensive line. He was a pure, unadulterated disruptor. Now, I know some of the box score scouts will look at the sack numbers and say they favored his teammate Ruben Bain, but you have to watch the film. Mesidor was the one creating the initial pressure, flushing the quarterback out of the pocket, and forcing the bad throws. He was a one-man wrecking crew down the stretch of the season. But, just like with McCoy, there are some serious, buyer beware, signs here. First off, we have to talk about the age. Mesidor is going to be a 25-year-old rookie. In a league that prizes youth and tapped potential, that is a massive hurdle for some front offices to clear. You're essentially drafting a player who is already in his physical prime, meaning there might not be a ton of room for growth. Then there's the injury history. This isn't just one freak accident, this is a medical file that dates back to his days at West Virginia and followed him to Miami. He lost a massive amount of time in 2022 and 2023. If you look at the film only, he is easily a top 10 player in this class. He was lights out when it mattered most. But for a team that desperately needs to win games right now, can we afford to spend a first-round pick on a player with a fragile label? If he stays healthy, he's an instant impact piece that makes our pass rush terrifying. If those old injuries flare up, we've wasted a golden opportunity to get younger and more durable on the edge. Now, let's pivot to the most explosive rumor of the entire draft cycle. What if I told you that Dallas shouldn't use that 20th pick at all? What if we took that asset and shipped it off for a proven, veteran superstar? There is a massive buzz growing about a potential blockbuster trade with Kansas City for their all-pro corner, Trent McDuffie. This isn't just some fan fiction, top-tier analysts are starting to link McDuffie to the blue and silver. Think about the impact of a move like that. McDuffie is a certified stud who has proven he can play at an elite level on the biggest stage in the world. He can lock down the nickel spot, or he can move to the outside and shut down a team's number one receiver. He is incredibly similar to Darren Bland in his versatility and high football IQ. But, as always in the NFL, it comes down to the almighty dollar. McDuffie is entering the final year of his rookie deal and he is going to want to be paid like the top-tier talent he is. We are talking about a contract in the neighborhood of $23 million per year, minimum. Here is the dilemma: we just moved on from Trayvon Diggs, partly to manage the salary cap. Does it make sense to immediately turn around, give up a first-round pick, and then hand over a massive market-setting contract to another corner? We have to be honest with ourselves, this defense isn't just one player away. We need 4, 5, or maybe 6 key pieces to truly become a championship-caliber unit. Is spending that much capital on one player the smartest move, or should we be using those picks to build out the depth of the roster? If we trade for McDuffie, our secondary becomes an overnight fortress, but what happens if our defensive line gets thin or our linebackers can't stay healthy? The front office is walking a tightrope. On one hand, you have the draft path, taking Jermod McCoy at 12 and Akheem Mesidor at 20. That gives you 2 elite talents on rookie contracts, but both come with massive health and durability questions. On the other hand, you have the trade path, securing a veteran like McDuffie who you know can play, but at the cost of your future draft capital and a huge chunk of your salary cap. It is the classic NFL struggle between potential and proven production. Christian Parker's defensive scheme thrives on versatile, aggressive corners who can play multiple roles, and McDuffie fits that mold perfectly. But McCoy, if he's healthy, offers a higher ceiling for a fraction of the cost. Every year we say the off-season is critical, but this feels different. The window for this core group of players is closing, and the decisions made in the next few months will echo for years to come. Do we take the gamble on the kids from Tennessee and Miami, trusting our medical staff to get them right? Or do we get aggressive and bring in a veteran who has already hoisted a Lombardi trophy? The fans are divided, the experts are split, and the clock is ticking toward draft night. We've seen what happens when this team misses on early picks, and we've seen how one bad contract can paralyze a franchise for years. But we've also seen how a single draft class can ignite a turnaround. If McCoy and Mesidor both hit their ceilings, Dallas could have the most feared defense in the NFC. If they don't, we'll be looking back at this mock draft as the moment the wheels fell off. This is why we love the game, the strategy, the risk, and the unyielding hope that this is finally our year. We are going to be following every single update, every combine measurement, and every trade rumor until the commissioner steps up to that podium. The path to defensive dominance is right in front of us, we just have to hope the front office has the courage, and the luck, to take it. What would you do? Would you trade pick 20 for Trent McDuffie? Let me know in the comments with a Y for yes or an N for no. The debate is just getting started, and I want to hear from every single one of you. The countdown to the draft is on, and the future of the star is at stake.